The topography of the landscape forms crucial evidence. At the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, it was impossible to imagine what it must have looked like in Jesus' time. At the tomb in the garden, this is somewhat easier. It's a garden. The image of a garden recurs in several paintings of the scene. Some of these ancient maps place the crucifixion in the same landscape. Might it be that some of these depictions are based on knowledge which is now lost to us? The team visited the Jewish National and University Library in Israel to confirm the date of these ancient maps. Dated 1584, 300 years before the garden tomb was discovered.
This map shows us an imaginary depiction of a biblical Jerusalem. We can see here, for example, Jesus and the course he made through the city until the place of the crucifixion. The original map was printed in Köln in 1584 by Christian van Adukem. Considered a very important depiction of Jerusalem. Published at the beginning of the 17th century, it is drawn after a map dated 1584.
Take a look at this map from the 16th century. We can see the Garden of Gethsemane, where Jesus is being arrested, and the old gate through which he will carry his cross to Golgotha.
Well, this is a fascinating map. Obviously, it's the first time I've ever seen it. The salient points that are important is way up at the top is the Mount of Olives. And when the New Testament speaks of a garden, it speaks of either a citrus grove or an olive grove, and that's an olive grove. And the Mount of Olives will bring right down through to Gethsemane. And we know that the Lord was in Gethsemane prior to his final trial, and then he would have been led out of the city. Today's Damascus Gate is very ornate, but underneath Damascus Gate we do find there the remains of an Herodian gate, and that area has been associated with gates. Saul of Tarsus would have left from there. The great sacrifice got to be on the side of the north according to the Levitical law, and this picture down here that they've drawn in of the crucifixion site does appear to be on the side of the north, and it is outside the gate, and the writer to the Hebrews makes that abundantly clear. And Roman law said crucifixion had to be outside city precincts. So I find this fascinating, and it could well be that this is something that of great interest, frankly, that I've never seen before.
If we now turn the picture like this to match up with a modern map of Jerusalem, we can see how closely the main features agree. The site of the crucifixion lines up with the place of the skull, and the location of Jesus' tomb lines up precisely with the tomb in the garden. One of the maps shows the tomb of Saint Stephen, who was the first disciple to be martyred. This tomb is just yards away from the garden, and the team went in search of it, finding a church dedicated to Saint Stephen on the exact spot. This raises another series of questions. How did the printmaker know of these locations? Both these sites were covered in rubble and not fully excavated until the 19th century. The city boundaries have changed and the walls have been rebuilt. But if we remove this section, we find Golgotha, both on a corner and outside the city walls, exactly where it should be according to the Gospels.